And a very warm welcome to BBS. I'm Sonam Rinchen. As the country prepares for the third parliamentary elections, voters, or for that matter, general public, might be waiting to know what the four political parties stand for and what they have to offer. And to make people aware, BBS is bringing you one-on-one interview with the four party presidents. And joining me today is the party president from Bhutan Kingdom Party, Madam Nitin Zamo. Thank you so much for joining on this program. Ma'am, you have been touring the country. How was your familiarization tour?
Wonderful. It's been a wonderful experience. I've visited nooks and corners of about 17 Dzongkhaks. Of course, I have not been able to reach all the nooks and corners, but places I've never reached, and which I would have never visited if I had not joined politics. Great experience, and you really see through your own eyes the experiences, the difficulties that people face, the simplicity, and then the good-heartedness, the goodness in the human beings, and also sometimes very touching, meeting hundreds of people whom you never have met or seen or heard of. So wonderful experience, and also very inspiring in the sense that that you're on a platform, you have taken a platform where you can do so much. Really encouraged, there's so much to be done. The other thing is also concerned about how politics is being conducted, business of politics is being conducted, and then how much people understand about democracy, really democracy. Generally, one question that I always ask to anybody or any meeting, we must have conducted over 400 meetings now. My one question that I ask is, what do you understand from what do you understand by democracy? Generally, 90% of them say it's election, it's this. So which means their rights come only after every 5 minutes, 5 minutes or 5 years. So we need to really deepen that understanding of democracy. Their real right of governance, engaging in governance, is not understood at all. No. I took simple examples about their GEO plans, GEO programs. They're directly dealing with the local government more. So their budget, do they know how much budget do they have? They have no clue. First of all, they're so busy in the fields. Secondly, nobody tells them. Even if they tell them, they forget. So there's this no conscious effort, generally no conscious effort in trying to really bring people on board on this platform of democracy and making them understand what their right is, and also making them understand what their duty is. For example, social accountability is such an important duty. If the budget is given for an activity, but if it's taken somewhere else, then they must ask why this budget has been given to another program. Small examples, very small examples. Yes. So I think we need to do more. The local government, the government as a whole. I think we need CSOs. We really need to deepen democracy. Democracy's foundation has not been built at all. I'm sorry to say this, but this is the observation that we've made through our interaction with the people, and really going down there is not reading reports. Yes. Or listening through second person or third person.
Yes. Thank you for sharing your experiences. Now, coming to the politics, for that matter, election, how prepared is the Bhutan Kingdom Party for the third parliamentary elections?
As I said in the Dzongkha section, very prepared. Body, speech and mind. Body and speech and mind from day one. But then, of course, there are other responsibilities of the tangible. The intangible is the body, speech and mind, more ready. The tangible is the candidates. We have all the candidates, our documents are ready. Tough, tough. There are so many things that we need to discuss after the elections. Sometimes which can discourage anybody to join politics. But anyway, this is not the forum to discuss about this thing. So we are ready. We have all the 47 candidates, all the documents are ready. That is required by the electoral law. They're ready. Anytime we receive this the letter from the Election Commission of Bhutan, we will be submitting our letter of intent very soon.
Yes. Talking about the toughness, do you mean it's getting candidates for the party, or?
Yes. Getting candidates is so tough. Like people, it's sitting in a chair and then media people coming, or anybody for that matter coming, and then, oh, this candidate is that candidate is that. it's easy. But when you're really in it, because the culture, it's a very fear, as I said, fear-stricken society. I'm sorry to say this. If you disagree, then let's discuss. It's a fear-stricken society. Yes. Now, whether they're civil servants, whether they're in the private sector, whether they're, but generally, when we, okay, Kinyam Sakpa, for that any matter, I'm sure they will look for the best. No? They will look for the best of candidates, whether they're in the civil service or private sector or even self-employed. No? The response, 99.9% of the response is, oh, I'm not, what is that, the thing, the cliche thing, huh? I'm not made for politics. Huh? I'm not made for politics. I'm an honest person. So when you say you're an honest person, doesn't mean that dishonest people should go into politics. Then you know the fate of the country. But that is the mindset. I think I've been saying this from my first interview since I joined politics. The mindset is that internationally and then also at home, that politicians cannot be trusted. Politicians are all for themselves. I don't think so. I think you have to trust your politicians. And politicians also have to earn their trust, by the way. Politicians have to earn their trust, have to work towards earning their trust. And we must trust the politicians. I don't think our politicians are bad. But somehow, I don't know whether it is self-afflicted fear or whether it is by design. I do not know, by the way. I think this is something that we need to really discuss. In an environment of fear, how can you really have a vibrant democracy? Democracy is all about fearlessness, and democracy is all about responsibility, and democracy is all about trust. Yes. Trust yourself, trust the system, trust the government, trust your, I don't know, media, yes. Just name it. But I think we have a very, you can talk about manifesto left and right and give statistics, but I think these are intangible issues and more important, bigger issues that we need to address. You may build bridges, you may build roads, you may build schools, you may build hospitals, people may demand. But at the end of the day, the democratic culture, if the democratic culture is not there, then I do not know. Your bridges may fall apart. Your schools may fall apart. But this trust, I think this is the capital that we need to build right now. That capital is not there. Yes. That is my frank opinion. If somebody disagrees, let us discuss. I think we need to discuss. There has to be a public discourse on this. Yes. We have to discuss. Yes. For simple example, I don't know whether you were there, whether media, of course media always keeps us at the last, no? For some reason, maybe you're also fearful, I don't know. We had a youth meet, We had a youth meet, and I expressed this without any inhibition at all. Even youth are so fearful. We'd invited few youth to talk, to share the inspiring story with the other youth who feel so depressed. Enlighten them with the story, inspire them with the story. No, their party did not allow them to go. If you're worried about youth, if you're worried about employment, why are you holding on to these resources, important resources? It's not party's resources. So these are very small examples. So even when youth, 50% of our population is youth, when that huge human capital is also stricken with fear, I don't think not all of them, but again the trend, no? I think we are not doing a favor. We are not doing a favor at all, the political parties, BKP included, I'm including everybody. I'm not saying that we are then the high and mighty, no, not at all. But all of us, we have a very big responsibility.
Yes. Ma'am, when you talk about instilling fear, are you saying that some of the political parties are instilling fear towards youth? I
don't know. Since the day we started in 2010 or 2008 only. Yes. So all of us, I think we need to really introspect deeply. We are highly spiritual people. Not to call me patient, not only to circumambulate for chortens, but really introspection and reflect. All of us will have to do this serious soul searching. Real serious soul searching. Yes. And this is what we also constantly do. We have to do serious soul searching, and we must have public discourse. We must have, for the larger good of the country and for a strong future.
Yes. Yes. Ma'am, let's talk about the manifesto. If it's ready, what would be the core focus of your manifesto?
Our overriding statement is a self-reliant Bhutan. Everybody, our concern and our responsibility. Because generally, why we also self-reliance, because I think this self-reliance, this is not new, by the way. Yes. Okay, you all know, no? This has been there since the 5th five-year plan. Fourth king has been our fourth king, has been really the father of democracy, has been really stressing on democracy, fifth plan, the self-reliance. Even in his coronation speech, if you listen to the coronation speech, he said that the people must take responsibility. The government doing so much, people doing so little, to make such a big difference. And this is something that we are once again invoking, that self-reliance is, people must. You just cannot say that we voted you, so now you do this for us. No, we have to, it should be our concern. Are we becoming more self-reliant, or are we becoming more dependent? 57 years of 57 years of socio-economic development. We are still dependent, yes, of course, as required by the Constitution, our internal, current expenditures being met from our domestic revenue. But for our capital works, for our development activities, we are still dependent. We are still dependent. And looking at our plans and programs and looking at our behavior and looking at the expenses that we incur, are we going closer to our self-reliance goal? So that is the overarching statement of our manifesto.
Now, how do we understand the concept of economic self-reliance when we rely on donors who affectionately call development partners and to meet our economic needs?
First thing is, I think self-reliance will have to start with your food, food that you eat. So that's why wherever we go, we always thank the farmers. Farmers themselves think so little of themselves. Oh, nyamchung, ganyamishe, and even we tend to think, oh, ganyamishe, But farmers have so much of wealth, and then we have food to eat and liquid to drink because of the farmers. They are the ones who are actually feeding us. But yet, of course, we are also importing. So we have to have food sufficiency. When you talk about basics, shelter is another one. Your income, your household needs. So we are looking at household, your geok. Ultimately, it must come to the family.
Yes.
So these are the smallest units. Your geok, your zonkak, and then ultimately the national level. So I think the one big indicator of self-reliance will be when we stop relying on donors. But it doesn't mean when we stop taking aid, I hope it will be sooner, it doesn't mean that we are going to cut off relations, not at all. Relations is not only about money. It's about friendship, trust. We have so much to share, intangible resource, that knowledge that we can, like Bhutan, GNH, known for GNH, isn't it? So much, so much of, we may not have money, but we have so much of intangible resource that we can share with the world, a small country for which we should be proud of. Just giving small examples.
Yes. Ma'am, people say that they want new ideas and approach of development, something different parties have to offer. What are parties' unique strength, especially Bhutan Kinam Party? Bhutan
Kinam's party unique strength is, it has the truth, seeking the truth. If that can be understood. But unique ideas, creative ideas must also come from the people there. I believe that our Kinam's strength is the courage to be truthful, the courage to do what you have to do. I feel that is the unique strength. Of course, they might be looking at economic, whether it is in the private sector development or whether it is employment generation. The creative ideas must also come from the people, from the private sector, or from the youth. Yesterday I was watching BBS and there was this young fellow who runs this Fab Lab. Fab Lab. It's I think an associate, or not associate, a branch of MIT something.
Nice.
So why not? Technology, so much of idea. I'm sure they can come about. But just don't look at the government for.
In politics, do you think that truth works?
Why shouldn't it work? Such a small country, we say we are Buddhist. What does Buddhism mean? Seeking the truth. We say we are a GNH country. It's also seeking the truth. We say, yeah, Buddhists, seeking the truth there. So that's why even our education program, as we bring up kids also now, if you go too much on the material side, material well-being and too much pursuit of the material wealth, then I guess being truthful may be difficult. I don't know. This is a very complex thing, but at the end of the day, I think these are the core values that we need to really talk about as a society.
Yes. Ma'am, if your party does form the government, what would be your guiding principles and what would be your first and foremost task?
The first and foremost task is to build trust. Because the whole machinery of delivery is the civil service, the bureaucracy, isn't it? The bureaucracy, as I look at it, of course, I have not interacted with them much, but the morale seems to be low. I do not know. Of course, it's not an immediate, not a current, not a something that has developed overnight, but there's something that you feel, no? That morale, hopelessness. This is something I feel palpable, no? So the first thing will be, the BKP's thing will be now to really ventilate, ventilate the bureaucracy, because we have to work together. The bureaucracy has to be up and lighter. What do you call that? Up and going, up and going, and then all not fasten, but inspired and motivated, while they are also taken care of. No, but just one thing. No. But I think that we need to.
Nice.
Yeah, we need to.
Can you share BKP's ideologies and principles?
As I mentioned in the Zonka section, the three views, no? 3 views or ideology or tawa, whatever. One is incorruptibility, no? Kinyam Sopa, people who are there in Kinyam Sopa, starting from me, starting from the head, till our field worker, that we will be incorruptible. Okay, so one question often comes, if somebody is corrupt in your, in your team, that person will also go. So incorruptibility of the Kinyam team, Kinyam party team. The other thing is that we will also will not shy away from fighting corruption. The second thing is that let's not be bent on winning by hook or crook. Yes. By hook or crook. Because the country is important. At the end of the day, as we keep saying, of course, it sounds very cliched, that the country and the people must win. The country and people. We keep telling people that country is not for 5 years. So when you're bent on winning, you will do anything to win. Yeah. That is not because BKP's stand. BKP, what we keep saying, the analogy that we draw is that we will conduct ourselves as Nangyam. Yeah. If you're Nangyam, if your mother, the woman of the mother is strong, the home is also warm and strong. If the mother is not strong, then the home is also not strong, and it's cold. So we say this is the second one. And because we educate people that parties come and go, presidents come and go, candidates come and go, but the country doesn't go, no. Country has to become stronger and stronger. It is our responsibility to make country stronger and stronger, okay? The future has to be strong and harmonious, by the way. The politics should not divide us. Then the third one is that independence of BKP. That is very important. In your thought, in your speech, you have to be independent. And when you talk about independent, is who should we please, who to for your vote gains, We should not be bound by that. And the other thing is, for parties to operate, you need money, You need money. So from who are the sources of your money? Big money. So we are not looking for big money also. Maybe 50,000, 1 lakh. So because if you receive big money, big fat money, in one form or the other, of course the law says 5 lakhs, but I'm sure at the end of the day, if you at all form the government, you have to pay back, isn't it? In the form of policies, in the form of the laws. So BKP is, the third view is that BKP has to be independent, that BKP will be independent. Some people when I was in Doroka, some people told my candidate, "Oh, you took the right decision in joining politics, but you chose the wrong political party, because BKP, nobody knows about it. BKP is new. BKP is poor." I told the people, I said, I was also told the same thing. Good, but you chose the wrong party. I said, no, I've chosen the very right party. And so did my young candidate there from Samsi. So I told people there that, yes, BKP doesn't have money, but for all your development work, it doesn't come from the pocket of the candidate or the party. Maybe for winning the votes, to buy votes, maybe. And so I had to educate people. So I told them that BKP, as I also said in the Zonka, that BKP's wealth is not money. BKP's wealth is not power. BKP's wealth is people's trust. BKP's wealth is hope. BKP's wealth is a courage. BKP's wealth is the courage to take the truthful path, the truth.
No.
So this is our wealth.
No.
So if people have wrong notion that BKP is poor, I do not know, maybe they think that the development programs, it's come from the demo's pocket, or I don't know, from the party's pocket. But that's why I tell people that, okay, there's a choice for you. On one hand, you have Kiras and Goras, Kira and Go, and then the watch and court and Damjiten and beer cases. On the other hand, you have your future, a bright future. What do you want to choose? Of course, people say bright future. But man, when the money lands on the, no, I do not know. So this is actually, what do I call it? I challenge people. So let's see.
But, ma'am, you mentioned about fighting corruption, to root out corruption, but it's easy to say, but don't you think it's hard to implement?
I worked in anti-corruption for 9.5 years. It is tough. Of course, small people is easy. But when big people are involved, it's tough. But one must fight there. And it's not only about investigation, it's also about improving the systems, no? Unnecessary rules, sometimes even rules become a very fertile ground for corrupt behavior. So we need to look at the systems level. No? We need to look at so whenever you talk about corruption, you only talk about taking people to prison. No, not that. But it's about systems correction. No? Systems correction, strengthening the system is also about educating people. It's also about behavioral change, and also having your strong code of conduct and training people, imparting the skills. So it can be done, and especially in Bhutan. In fact, Bhutan stands well in as far as the corruption barometer is concerned, but where we are going up or down, we do not know. And as a small country, we can be the cleanest in the world. If you have the will, we can beat Finland. I think Finland is the cleanest, most probably, the Nordic countries.
Yes. Ma'am, what are some of the challenges that the party foresee in the upcoming elections?
The challenge is fear. One is fear. One is fear. That people have to remove this cloak of fear. And the political parties have that responsibility to really build that trust. I don't know whether it is self-afflicted or whether there are reasons, very good reasons for fear, for people to be fearful. And I think all the parties, I guess the vision, everybody will say that we want to have a secure and unified and harmonious and independent Bhutan. But the way, the process, the path that we choose, I think means cannot justify the end. Sometimes we think that the means will justify the end. So if we can really, truly have, of course, the world over, they say that politics can never be clean, but here is an opportunity. But when politics is not clean, it becomes very challenging. It's tough. Yeah. But I've been telling people that BKP will not budge. Of course, we have to have the skillful means, you have to have the wisdom as to how you want to operate and all that, those things you have to have. But definitely when it comes to the path that you have chosen, it is tough, very tough. Yes. But then, of course, I think I mentioned this in one of the, I don't know, discussions, that even my students told me, Madam, no, but our conscience have to be clear. Our conscience have to be clear, and then I have to be at peace, or we have to, all of us have to be at peace at the end of the day.
Yes. My final question, in case if BKP comes to a general round, is there any swapping of candidates? I'm sorry to use that word, swapping or replacing candidates.
Okay. We have this candidates rules which we have framed. If you can also look at that, you will find there. Here we say that for BKP, the party comes before the candidate. The country comes before the party. And if at all, I guess our aspiration is to be there in the primary round. And if elements block our road, maybe not. But anyway, then the party has to be strong, no, isn't it? The party has to be strong to deliver, no, what it intends to deliver. And then to be strong, then the candidates also have to be strong. So we'll have to have our internal discussion. Yes. And then all these things are laid out in our candidates' rules. You can also look at that. But the law also permits. But if you ask me, I think indirectly you're also asking, many people ask me this, that if you don't make it, that whether I'll move. I will never move. No. Because BKP is my party. I believe in BKP's value. It really aligns with my own my own principles. So it's BKP or no one.
Yes. Yes.
Not even for a crore of Newton.
Yes. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining on this program. It's we requested you here for and sharing your views, your manifestos and ideologies. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching the program.